Welcome to Cyber Safety for your ministry. I'm Charlie Groover, your partner in cybersecurity. For the last 21 years, I've served in the U.S. military as an information warfare specialist, receiving training in defensive cyber operations and holding a certification in Security Plus by CompTIA. Now let's get started in how to keep your ministry safe online. The objective of this training is stated here. We'll cover a few current events and what you can do to stay safe. Specifically, I'll talk to you about recognizing and avoiding phishing scams, safe social media practices, setting some strong passwords, and safe browsing habits. You've probably seen it in the news. Let's take a look. Scammers posing as pastors to take advantage of unsuspecting members. Since COVID, the way we communicate has substantially changed. The more we do online, the more adversaries of the gospel try to target and take advantage. How do they do this? Spear phishing. What is spear phishing? Phishing schemes often use spoofing techniques to lure you in and get you to take the bait. These scams are designed to trick you into giving information to criminals that they shouldn't have access to. In a phishing scam, you might receive an email that appears to be from a legitimate business, and it's asking you to update or verify your personal information. By replying to this email or visiting a website, the web address may look similar to ones you've used before. The email may be convincing enough to get you to take action requested. But once you click on that link, you're sent to a spoofed website that might look nearly identical to the real thing, like your bank, a credit card site, and it'll ask you for sensitive information like passwords, credit card numbers, or even bank PINs. These fake websites are used solely to steal your information. It happens to the best of us. In a recent survey, 92% of businesses surveyed reported that they had fallen victim to a spear phishing campaign. How do you protect yourself? Remember, companies generally don't ask for you to contact them with your username and password. So don't click on any unsolicited emails or text messages. What you should do instead is call the company. Ask that company if the request is legitimate. Carefully examine the email and the URL. Sometimes they'll use spelling that's similar to the real thing, but it's not the real thing. It's a trick on your eyes to make it look like you can trust the website. Be careful what you download. Never open an email attachment from someone you don't know. Always be wary of attachments that are forwarded to you. Other things you can do is set up two-factor authentication. What that is a text message that's sent to you. From there, you can also set it up with a Google Authenticator or Microsoft Authenticator. Here's some sample phishing emails. You can see that this one claims to be from a pastor, and it says that he's so busy, which you can all relate to, and he can't step out, but he needs to get gift cards for some of the staff. So he wants you, the member, to go ahead and purchase these gift cards, to scratch off the numbers, and to send it via email. This is not a good idea, and hopefully most congregants would know that that's not something that you would do. Unfortunately, some people are tricked and fooled by things like that. Let's give some more examples. You get an example purchase bill from Geek Squad saying, hey, we just renewed your Geek Squad membership for $400. Here's your bill. And then it tells you that you can contact a phone number. Don't contact that phone number. Search online for the actual number for Geek Squad, and you can verify if it is a legitimate charge. You can also check your credit card. Here's another one from Amazon claiming that it charged you $42. Again, you can easily log into your account without clicking the link that's in the email. Go to your Amazon app or go to the website amazon.com and verify if it was a purchase made. What scammers will try to get you to do is to click on the link inside the email. And again, those are links that may look like it's coming from the company. It may even send you to a landing page that looks like it's Amazon, all in the hopes to get you to put in your personal credentials. And from there, they can make orders and they can steal your personal information. Last but not least, let's say here's a fake invoice from an email that you got. What you can do is if you mouse over some of the links, you can see that it doesn't really go to Amazon. It may go to a cloud server. It may go to a different site, but just by scrolling over with your mouse, you can see where it actually goes to. All right, pop quiz. So unfortunately, you did click on the phishing link and you entered your personal credentials for Amazon. Now several illegitimate orders have been placed in your account. What can you do? Well, there's a couple things. Of course, you can contact Amazon. You can talk to your credit card company. But what else can you do to make sure that these scammers don't continue with what they're doing? Right here, this is how you can report. So the FBI has set up a website. It's called the Internet Crime and Compliance Center, IC3. So if you go to ic3.gov, you can file a report, and it'll say how much money you've lost, how it happened. It'll look for email addresses. It'll look for URLs. So try to capture some of those important details so you can put it in a report. And those are the people, the FBI are the ones that will investigate, as they have offices all around the world, 52 different offices, and they'll take a look and they'll try to track down these criminals and hold them responsible for the crimes that they're doing against you and your ministry. All right, so let's look at best ways to protect your personal information on social media. Take a look at this video.
Social media will always be a trade-off between connection and protection. It's almost impossible to live without them, but they just give another door of opportunity for scammers to mess with your life. But I know what you're thinking. Upton, my best friends don't really care about the zoo pictures I put on Facebook from my trip to San Diego, so why would a scammer care? Well, unfortunately, it's not elephant selfies that hackers are after. Let me explain how they do it and why your whole life can be compromised because of social media. Scammers can get valuable information from your life through your social media. Then they can use this information to perform targeted fraud attacks or even sell them on the dark web so other people can use them. Here are the 3 most common ways that scammers get information they need from your social media. Number 1, publicly shared private information on your profile. Most security breaches are happening from stuff we put online. Most profiles have publicly stated our names, some have stated our emails, our birthplace, or even our birthday. This information is extremely valuable because scammers can send you very precise phishing emails or perform identity theft. If you share pictures of your trip in the Bahamas, that gives out a priceless piece of information that you are not currently home, and a thief could break into your house or steal your personal mail. But Upton, I have my privacy set to friends only visibility. No one that I haven't approved has access to it. Well, that's an excellent first step, but if you're building a public persona profile, you've probably accepted followers that you barely know or don't know at all. Also, if one of your friends' profiles gets hacked, hackers will get access to all of your information. So in general, share as little as possible in your social media. Number 2, logging in on social media in a public place. We've all done it, checking TikTok while waiting for the bus or surfing on Instagram while using the cafe's Wi-Fi, as we wait for our friend who is late again. But there is a type of identity theft called shoulder surfing. Lurking eyes will look over your shoulder as you're typing in your password to any social media account. This can happen in any public space like a cafe, a park, or the metro. Just like with an ATM, always use your hand or body to cover the letters and numbers that you type into your phone. That's not the only danger in public spaces though. Avoid public Wi-Fi as much as you can. It's surprisingly easy for hackers to intercept your connection and collect all the data. If you must use a public Wi-Fi, consider a VPN, which scrambles the data you send and makes your location untraceable.
Those are some tips for the best ways to protect your personal information on social media. So let's continue on. You discover that someone actually created a fake profile using your name and your photos online. What should you do? Well, most places like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn have places that you can report those fictitious pages. So how do you do that? Let's take a quick look at this clip and we'll show you how you can report on Facebook.
So, how do we do this? Well, we will go to facebook.com, and here we are. Now, I am going to use a legitimate account for my examples because I actually don't have any fake friend requests right now. I'm going to use Mr. Zuckerberg. No, I am not going to report this as fake, but I am going to walk you through the steps of what it would be. So, one of the things you'll notice when you get a fake friend request is that there will be a name that will, when you click on it, will take them to their profile. So if Mr. Zuckerberg here had sent me a friend request, part of that friend request would include his name. I click on that, that would take me to his profile. If you're getting a friend request from a fake account, then click on the name and that should take you to the profile for the fake account. Now, there are two things, like I said, we need to be very, very careful about. One is the profile could be legitimate, right? It could be somebody else with your name who happens to have the same name as you do with their own Facebook account. Not sure how your friends would be getting friend requests from them. That's something separate. But when you're identifying Facebook accounts, make sure that it truly is a fake account. You might think that there are very few, or that I might be the only Leo Notenboom on the platform. Not the case. There's more than one Leo Notenboom on Facebook. Surprise, surprise. So you can't just rely on the uniqueness of a name. I'm sure there's even another Mark Zuckerberg out there. But you also run into this problem, of course, if your name is not necessarily unique, or if the name you're dealing with is not necessarily unique. Just take the extra step to make sure that this is the account you want to report. And of course, make sure it's not your own account, right? Make sure that you're not asking people to report as fake your account. Make sure that they're reporting the fake account as fake. So what do? Well, we'll go over here on the right-hand side. You'll see there's these three little dots called the ellipses. We'll click on that. We'll click on Find Support or Report. And these are our options. They are pretending to be someone or a fake account. Honestly, multiple of these first three, fake name, fake account, pretending to be someone, they're kind of, sort of similar. I tend to say pretending to be someone because you get the option of saying they're pretending to be me. Then finally, you have this option to submit. I'm not going to submit. Like I said, I'm not going to report Mr. Zuckerberg's own account as fake. I don't know what would happen, to be honest. I don't think they would delete his account. It's more likely that they would delete mine, and I don't want that to happen. So that's really all it boils down to. That's the only thing that you can really do if someone sets up an account attempting to impersonate you. Now, the last thing I have to say here, and this is perhaps the most frustrating part of it all, curb your expectations. I have heard of this working, but I have heard of it not working more often than it works. It's frustrating. I'm sure that Facebook is dealing with a ton of issues around moderation and impersonation and community guidelines and gosh only knows what else. The bottom line here is that I just want you to understand that even after reporting, nothing could happen. It's very possible that nothing will happen. It's very possible that something will, and that's great if it does. Just don't assume that it will, and try not to get too frustrated if it doesn't.
So whether something happens or not, that's totally up to Facebook or the platform, but we should definitely do our due diligence so no one is out there making pages that look like us with our likeness on there, your ministry's likeness. So that's how you can report something like that. All right, so let's say you receive a message from a friend telling you to click on a link and that you've won a prize. Let's say it was the Nigerian lottery that you obviously did not play in, but you won, so let's click on this link. What should you do? I think we all know that that's a pretty glaring, obvious thing. You didn't play it, so therefore you didn't win it. Don't click on those links. Let's say you accidentally click on a pop-up and your computer does start acting strange. What can you do for this? So let's take a look. Really, right now, you're in damage control. If your computer starts to act funny, your mouse isn't moving, it's going real slow, that could mean that there's a potential virus. So what should you do? The very first step that you can do is unplug your computer from the internet. That makes sure that if there's a command and control that's trying to control your computer and exfil data from your computer, that stops that connection right there. Secondly, from there, go ahead and run a virus scan of your computer. Now at this point, hopefully you would have already updated or backed up all your files on your computer on a regular basis. But if you haven't backed up your files, once you run that virus scan, you may want to also back up your files. If it comes back that there are no malicious files, that's great. You can plug it back in and go back to what you were doing. If it does say that there's malicious files, you definitely want to make sure that those get isolated and deleted. And then also you want to make sure whatever happened when you were doing that, say you were on Amazon again, you want to go ahead and maybe change your password for that, just to make sure that no one was able to grab the access to your accounts while you were surfing on the web and things started to go a little funny on you. All right, so those are the steps. Hopefully that helps there. Let's go to the next slide. So how can you make sure while you're on the web that you're browsing safely? Well, first and foremost, you should see at the top address bar on the left-hand side, you'll see either a shield or a lock. And what that's saying is that this is HTTPS. And what that means is that it's a secure connection between the web server and your browser. So information that you're sharing, it's encrypted, it's going back and forth, and other people can't see it. So you definitely want to make sure that it is secure when you're sending bank account information, when you're doing transactions, that it's not just an HTTP without the S there. So that's how you check for the secure connection in your browser. Also, common signs of malicious websites. If you go to a website you're unfamiliar with, you start to get a ton of pop-ups, or maybe the pop-ups that are too good to be true, like you just won a $500 tool. That's too good to be true. So websites like that most likely are not legitimate websites, and you want to steer away from it. Get out of that website as quick as you got in there. Next, if you're at an unfamiliar website and there's something there like sermon notes that you wanted to download, definitely check the source, because as you're downloading files, files contain malicious code in them, and they could execute on your computer and again take control and start to exfil data, passwords, sensitive information from your computer and take it back to those cyber criminals that shouldn't have it. So be very careful in downloading files and information. All right, general online safety tips. So we talked about it before, having strong passwords. Generally speaking, the importance of having a strong password is one thing. Also, keeping those passwords up to date by changing them every 6 to 9 months. That way, if someone does access your password and they get it, that the frequency that you're changing it does not allow them to continue to have access. You'll cut off that access. Minimum password requirement should be about 12 characters. That includes upper and lowercase characters. It includes numbers, as well as special characters like the exclamation point, the $sign. Include those in there. The more complex the password, the harder it is for hackers to guess or to crack using a password cracker. Another thing that you can do to help secure your presence online and your accounts is two-step authentication. What does that mean? It means setting up a phone number that a one-time passcode can be texted to, or using an authentication app like we mentioned before, Windows authentication or Google's authentication, and that'll give you a one-time password that changes about every 30 seconds. All right, next, what else can you do to stay safe? Best practices are keep your browser and software up to date. A lot of times your operating system will come up with updates, and these updates have very important security updates, as well as on your phone. You definitely want to keep your phone's operating system up to date. Normally with the latest updates, it takes away bugs, but it also adds security features to help block known attacks. Use antivirus software. I'm not going to recommend a specific antivirus software, but I will say keep that virus software up to date with the new definitions as they come out. Make sure that you're constantly clicking update on that. Also, I'll say look at the provider. So there are certain antivirus softwares that are made in places like Russia, that are made in places like China, that may have different policies than we believe here in the US. So it is also important to know where that software is coming from, because you're choosing that to protect your computer and your email. Last, and I think we've mentioned it several times, is again, avoid clicking on suspicious links. You can hover over it again with your mouse, and you should be able to see where it goes. You can copy and paste that into your browser to make sure that it's actually where you want to go to. All right, so this is just a quick summary. Now you understand the basics of online safety practices for social media, email, and general web browsing. I'm Charlie Groover, and it's been my pleasure to walk you through this journey. If you have any questions, feel free to use the email there, charlie@glowlive.com. Thanks. Have a great day.